Hello, slopers. Well, if there's one chart I think captures the week nicely, it's this one. This is the Utilities ETF XLU on a weekly scale. And that giant red bar there, which is the biggest giant red bar we've had since, September of last year, really illustrates how things just sort of like let loose on the week. And it was a very important week. A lot of cool stuff happening. I think things have tilted toward the bear's way more. I will say, to just focus on our XLU friend again, if things keep falling next week, and if we tag this trend line down here, I'm not speaking about XLU only, I'm speaking about the market in general. If we fell all the way down to this trend line, besides me griping more about how badly I blew the trade, that may mark an important intermediate support zone. So something to keep in mind. But let's switch back to the more conventional daily scale. And what I wanted to do is just to thumb through the dozen ETFs that I think are just worth taking note of, and kind of to wrap this week up. And then I'll have to conjure up some kind of content this weekend. I'll probably take it easy on myself. There's no reason to do 10 posts for the weekend, but let's proceed. The diamonds, that is the Dow 30. So in this instance, you can see the lifetime peak was, of course, back here in early 2022. We got extremely close to it on August 1st. And that's all she wrote. That was the peak. So we slipped, tried to get some strength again, and then resumed the slipping. And today, the behavior of the market in general today was strong open week close. And the diamonds illustrate this nicely. As you can see, we've got a bearish engulfing pattern, quite a large red bar. So that may spell good things for Monday. Since it was the end of the quarter and options expiration, there's all kinds of crazy monkey business going on at the end of the day. So yeah, pretty wild stuff. EWZ, Brazil. This remains an intriguing one. It's got a nice head and shoulders pattern. Hasn't really broken the neckline yet. It teased us a little bit down here, but it's really got to close below this pink zone I've drawn to affirm that pattern. And if it does, it opens up the prospect of a trip all the way down to major support way down here at exactly $25. Small caps, this is an important one. IWM. Now, here's the Fibonacci, which is anchored way back here to the 2016 low and way up here to the tippity top, the lifetime high. This Fibonacci set has had a lot of potency in terms of resistance. You can see here, and support, over and over. You can see how it's range bound. So here it's range bound. Here it's range bound by these two, and is really fascinating in this one because here's the top of the range, here's the bottom of the range, and this Fibonacci in the middle is acting as a midline. And it's like almost a sine wave. The time phase isn't very clean, but the amplitude is pretty clean. And what was really interesting about today, and I've mentioned here and there, I came into the day with a lot of IWM puts. The market opened strong, and I came like one mouse click away from dumping the whole thing just out of exasperation. But mercifully, I glanced over at this chart and noticed, goodness gracious me, we've got a price gap fill and a virtually perfect tag of the Fibonacci. So I pulled my hand away from the mouse button, and thank goodness, because what had been a big fat loss became a nice fat profit. I took half the position off at pretty much the low of the day, and here's why. I'm a little bit nervous about if it's going to find strength or not. If today's sell-off was kind of a one-hit wonder, if we can cut through these levels that we've seen recently, then forget it. It's fine, and that's why I hung on to half the position, because we could well do that. thank my lucky stars and got out. It was too big of a position, so I got out of half, and there it sits. But the key here is that it's terrific that we did respect the fib, we respected the price gap, and for the balance of 2023, it could get all the way down to major support down here. Now that would be nuts. I don't know what kind of nuclear war it would take to do that, but that has been support for a long time now. So if we start selling off, this head and shoulders up here, which isn't perfect. I don't like the fact the right shoulder's higher than the left, but if this behaves with the potency that such a large pattern could, maybe it'll happen. So yeah, IWM's probably, of these 12, is probably just about the most important one. I'm kind of obsessed with. The mid caps, MDY. This is just kind of a different flavor of the small caps. Price gap is right there. The high of today was rather close to it. Very nice. OEF, the S&P 100. And this one's this cute little top. And the price gap's way up here. We didn't get even within spitting distance of that. It has stayed pretty cleanly below that pink semicircle I've drawn. The cubes actually ended the day up a little bit. And as Stuart Smalley would say, that's okay. The price gap was respected, 364.46. And if we start falling, and let me just emphasize this zone right here is very important, which is a double Fibonacci right around 346 or so, round about there, 345, 346, something like that. Yeah. So very, very, very strong support right there. SMH, also terribly important, and my biggest position. This one, this line is nothing fancy. I've simply anchored it to today's high. This pink zone here is the topping pattern itself. I'm not thrilled that on Thursday and Friday we got into that zone, but if we can get below it again, then huzzah, great. So it's a little bit of a bastardization of this top that we're kind of monkeying around inside there again. But so it's pretty important that we get below it once more. If we push above this line, I'll probably bail. But anyway, we'll see what happens on Monday. The spider, always interesting, always important. And this one, I've got this anchored to today's high, and it does not a bad job of showing the top above it. So everything above that line makes for a pretty good top. I would also note that we have done some damage for the first time in almost a year to this trend line. We cut below it on Tuesday, we're below it on Wednesday, got above it on Thursday, and got just below it today. So definitely doing some damage there. Next major support is not that far away, 419.60. And yeah, so Monday's gonna be an interesting day. The bonds, TLT, we were blasted 2 pennies higher on this. I think we've got a pretty strong resistance at 90.67 on this one. This is a pretty formidable topping pattern. And I say topping pattern loosely because we've been going down for 4 years, but you know, a continuation pattern, let's call it. New position for me, I did a premium post about this today, XHB. This was, how close did this get? Let's find out. The low here, the price gap, 77.97. Today's high, 77.94. Very good. 3 pennies shy of it. Good enough for government work. That phrase may be irrelevant soon. But fantastic. Just so good looking. Tagged the wedge, broken beneath it. Tagged the price gap, fell all day. Just hats off to XHB, the home builders. Wonderful. XLI, it's worth a peek, just a quick glance right there. You know, looking good. Same idea. Broke the trend line beneath this pattern. Everything's looking ship shape on that one. And then finally, shield your eyes, Frank. It's XLU. Wonderful pattern. I've beaten this to death. You know the drill. So let's just respect this line here as an important possible signal that we're oversold. Okay, that's it. Hope you did all right this week. Bye-bye.